My name is Patrice Thompson, and welcome to the Great Reset podcast where insurance meets accountability. And today I have Haven Financial with us. And please, you guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
All right. Thanks, Patrice, for having us on. My name is Wesley Shepard, president of Haven Financial Network, and we've got Neil Lester on with us today, director of operations here at Haven Financial.
Love it. Alrighty, let's get into it. So the first question, can you guys tell me a little bit about your history of your agency? How did it all start? And what has your journey been like? Like, what's motivated you to enter into the industry and to create your own, IMO space?
Absolutely. So got a couple of different things there. So I'll just break them down one by one here. So
Here.
history of the agency, we started, pretty new to the agency space as an IMO or emerging IMO. And that started back in 2022. March is the exact date of when that happened. That came from, being at multiple different places throughout my career. I've been in the industry for a little over 10 years now. And that was, we went to I've been to a lot of places where I saw things I loved, saw things that I didn't like so much, and wanted to, that happened quite a few times. And I really wanted to be able to be at a place that I wanted all these things to be in our agency. And I didn't want to take the bad things that came with other agencies. So it's kind of the grocery store approach. Take what you like, leave what you don't. And that's how it all started. It was never a position of, oh, I want to be the president of a company, I want to be the owner of a company. I just wanted to work in a place that felt like I know I would like to be there, and I know a lot of other agents that I've talked throughout my years have wanted and needed in their agency as well. Um, so that's first part of that question. The second part is how did I enter the industry? This can be a little bit different for Neil and myself. So I'll talk about mine. I got started. I think a lot of agents get started for this reason, just simply that they want to make more money and they want to spend less time doing that.
Yeah.
And I was working 60, 70 hours a week as a restaurant manager. That was what got me into the industry. I just didn't want to do that grind anymore. And throughout the years, like I said, working those other places, that's what prompted us to start the IMO and build that agency and that relationship with the carriers, other strategic partners. And Neil, I'll let you kind of talk about how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a big marketing background. I have worked in marketing for going on 9 years now. And that's how we met, was through that. Now, I started in a different industry, but worked my way into the insurance industry. Pretty much if you bought a live transfer or were dealing with any type of phone call between 2019 to almost 2023, I had my hands on it. I've worked with just about any call center you can imagine in the United States and overseas. So that was a big start for me. And as I learned about the industry from there, me and Wesley came in contact at one of these previous organizations and we clicked. We worked really well together. We saw that we had things that I could bring to the table, that he brought to the table from past experience. And those things together have helped us navigate some of these things. We know that the lead industry is crazy when it comes to the insurance industry. And having the background that I have, there's not many lead providers that I don't have some type of connection with, even today. And so that helps us navigate a lot of those things. And just running my own business on that side has helped me bring a lot of things to the table to really help us cultivate, a culture and a business that's going to be able to help people get to that next level.
No, I love that. So can you guys explain, because you guys are a bit of a dynamic duo. So how does Operation Wes and Neil actually take off? So if I were an agent coming to your agency, how do I receive either of you?
Yeah, so I'll kind of touch on that. So being kind of the operations person, I help not only with what the overall flow is of the business, how things are done, what the processes are, the technology we're using, but I'm a lot of times that first person you're going to come in contact with. So when it comes to some of the larger agencies that are under us, I handle them very hands-on, one-on-one. They know to talk to me. Wesley comes in as who he is, as the president, as the owner. He is that person, and we try to keep him away from that as much as possible. He's got a lot of things to worry about. And so really it comes to me first. If you're joining the team or you even want to be a part of the team, rather you're talking to a different recruiter or not, I still take the time to talk to every single person before it ever goes to any other step. That way I know, are you going to fit in the vision that I have? Are you going to fit in the vision that me and Wesley have before I ever hand you off to somebody else to have a second interview to see if you fit with that person or if you even fit with Wesley? So I'm really I'm your roadblock at the end of the day before that door is ever open to make sure that you do fit the culture, you do fit what we have. And then Wesley is obviously going to be dealing with a lot of carriers, dealing with some of the things that most people don't really realize happens in this industry, the things that you don't ever have to see. When it comes to running an agency, I know that there's a lot of headaches.
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of headaches, and these carriers are kind of difficult to deal with sometimes. There's some great ones, and some of the ones that are great still aren't that easy to deal with. And one of the biggest things that I learned when I came into this is there's no uniform process. Every carrier, every organization has a different process that you have to learn, and then you have to fit it into your puzzle because you're trying to create something that works better for the agents and the agencies under you. So now you've got to figure out, how do you put this puzzle piece together? And that's what it really comes down to when I'm thinking about these things. How do I fit this into what needs to happen to make everything better for us and the agents and the clients?
No, that is fantastic. And I love that. So what that's new, right? This whole interview process of agents. Because I know when I got into the agents, it's like, hey, want to make 500 bucks
I'm
for
here.
selling a policy. What would you say was that turning point where you like, we might want to sift through these people?
So, kind of just to the point, honestly, if you've been in this industry long enough, if you've dealt with people, people lie. There's a lot of false stuff that gets spread in this industry. It's a big industry, but just as you know, and agents learn very quickly, it's a tiny little industry. And if you know one person, everybody else knows that person as well. And so as we kind of went through, we've been burned. Most people have. If you've tried to run an agency or you have aspirations to be an IMO, you're going to get burned up until this point. Now, as we're doing these things, we want to change that. We want to make sure that it's different. But no longer are there the days of, hey, I'm doing 50,000 a month. I'm doing 100,000 a month. Great. Show me.
Yeah.
Show me.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that
Not
is that
taking your word for it.
I just want to add that I would rather talk you out of working with us than talk you into it. I've had that belief ever since back to my restaurant management days of I don't want to con you into it, show you speak, or I don't want you to be like, you talked me into being here, it's all your fault. No, I want to have a conversation about what this role is, what this job is, how it works, and make sure that's something you actually want to do. And then because you've told me there's things you want to do, we want to help hold you accountable to what you've asked us to help you with and achieve. So that's what I go back to is I don't want to talk you into it. I want to help you choose the right career.
I
Yep.
love that.
And
The
I
whole
just
nonsense approach. Like, what are you trying to do here?
Yeah, and just to give you a quick story, I've had multiple people when I do these calls, hey, I've been in the industry for a little while. Sell me. Sell me on why you. And the answer they get every single time is, I'm not going to do it. I'm not here to sell you. I'm here to see if you're a good fit for us. I'm not
Yeah.
going to sell you. That's not the process that we do. I'll tell you what we offer. I want to hear what you want. And if those things align, then great. If they don't, I hope you find the place that works best for you. That's it.
Usually I get that comment, it breeds a sense of entitlement. That is
Yep.
it's going to be a shitstorm later down the line because now you're going to have all these expectations that I'm here to serve you when it should be both ways.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
here
a
to train you,
relationship.
you go out there and sell, come back to me for questions and help, and we continue to grow and shape each other in the business and help you scale your business as you go on. But when it becomes a
Yep.
one-sided relationship,
Yep.
I want to sift that out now rather than two,
Absolutely.
3 months later down the line after we've done all of this work for you, putting in contracts, the conversations, the time, you've got,
Absolutely.
yeah. So definitely. So I definitely want to jam over to the next question. What are some of your core values and missions that drive your agency? How do you ensure that these values are upheld across your organization and reflected in your agent's work?
Absolutely. Um, our three core values that we really live by, and these are things that after talking to many agents, but also just things that we were looking for. I talked about earlier, like the grocery store approach, right? For me, first and foremost is commitment to ongoing self-improvement. You have to want to develop yourself. Because if you're if you're coming on board and you're a level five person, it is impossible for you to ever lead a team of six, seven, eights, nines, or tens if you're always just a five. So you get capped by your own growth. So I think that is the number one most important thing I can ever tell you to do is to search out self-growth and development.
Yeah.
Become better. Always how do you get better? The next one is communication. And that's a huge, I know Patrice, you and I've worked together in the past that
Yeah.
this is something huge. And it's something that we hear from almost every single agent we've talked to, that we've interviewed, that I just want to talk to them up on. I want to talk to the person above me. I can never get a hold of them. They never answer my calls, etc. Neil does a really good job of that for our team. I'm always there as well, but we have these different channels. Being able to communicate with your upline, the people above you, getting answers and getting them in a timely manner. If I'm at a baseball game with my girlfriend or whatever, and I tell an agent, hey, you have the availability to call and talk to me in a home, and if I don't have either the system to help that, whether it be a Neil or their agency owner, we've helped train up the other agents in our agency to be able to answer these questions. At the end of the day, I'm the person that they have to get that answer from as well. So I have to step away from those things and be willing to do that as a business owner because it is a business that doesn't stop. So, I tell agents, hey, if I don't answer, text me 911. If you have an emergency, I'll step away from almost everything I'm doing or get you somebody else that can answer right away. But just that communication of, you know, prioritizing active listening, actually listening to your agents and to your clients and not just giving people lip service, actually doing what you say you're going to do and communicate with these agents. I think that's huge. And the last one is consistency,
Yeah.
which is this business relies so much on consistency. Any business relies on consistency, but this business, you're not a W-2 employee. You don't have somebody sent over your shoulder that says, hey, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You got to go to the bathroom this time, make phone calls at this time. Now, if you want that, we can arrange that. But most agents don't get into this business for that reason. So being consistent and doing the work to be successful is the three things we believe are the most important to you as an agent.
That's
Yep.
beautiful.
Yeah, and just to
Yeah.
kind of add, because I want people to think about it, it's a twofold approach. Okay, all of those things, consistency, communication, and commitment, all of those matter, just as Wes just said, in your business. You need to communicate, you need to have communication, you need to be committed, you need to have the consistency. All of those apply to your client as well. Are you communicating with your clients? Are you being consistent with the things you do for your clients? Are you doing those things with the clients? It's not just about doing it internally to your business, and that's why they're twofold. You should be doing every single one of those things with the client relationship the same way that you're doing it with your downline and your upline.
What measures do you take to ensure that your agents operate with the highest level of integrity and professionalism?
That starts, Patrice, in the interview process. It really starts before, it should start before whenever you take your insurance exam. We are bound by the state and the government to do the right thing, to be ethical. Sometimes that doesn't happen. There's very common that get through that veil, but it comes from, really having that expectation of communication up front with the agents of this is what we're building, this is what we expect. Also, but it requires us to have checks and balances too. We are paying attention to agent's book of business. We're looking for, when we look at their business for that they've written for the month, for the week of, hey, these things aren't adding up. Let's have a conversation. But also, it's not just hiring an agent and turn them loose and say, hey, go get them. It's going back to having regular, clear communication, not just a one time. And I hope they make me a ton of money, because that's what a lot of agencies and IMOs do. Is they believe. I used to have a mentor that was a very short term mentor, but he believed that get as much as out of an agent for as long as you can, which is a horrible thing to think. Worked well for him for a while until it didn't. But that was the belief, and we just got to go back to clear communication, but also we make sure that you are doing what you're doing, and if you're not, we have coaching calls and we help get guides along the path. But at some point, either you're going to weed yourself out, or we're going to have a conversation that you no longer work and represent Haven Financial Network.
And that's like, go back to the roadblock. That's why I'm here. You will talk to me first. I got a pretty good sense of BS most of the time. And I'm going to ask the questions because I can talk pretty well. I can also listen really well. And I'm going to ask questions that are going to let you talk and ramble and say everything that you want to say. And you will slip up. If you're a person that does not fit the culture, I'm not afraid to say, hey, you're not a right fit. Have a great day. And that's it. We don't have to talk anymore. I'm not going to be sad because I missed out on 5 agents that are going to roll debt to me in 6 months. It's not an issue because we're not letting it be an issue. We want certain standards to be in place from day one, and you're not going to be here if you don't fit those standards. We want people that are committed to it. Now, we are going to help you with things. I know that you may have heard some things that happened at this agency. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Well, it is. There's a reason that it's not that big of a deal. It is a deal. There's an issue, and so we need to weed that out from day one. And we just don't want it to be a part of anything. Just because if we have somebody that we pass off to somebody else, hey, this would be a great agent. This isn't somebody that I want to work with particularly. I may not mesh with them. I don't have to be best friends with everybody. I'm going to do my job. But if I feel like you're going to work really good and this person is going to be able to pull something out of you that I can't, I will hand them to you. Hey, here's a great person. I want you to talk to them. Here's the things that I talked about. Here's the things they told me. See if this is a good fit for you. If they are, great. If not, tell them that that's it. There's no other interview. We don't need to hire that person. They don't need to be a part of this team. I don't want to set any of our agents or agencies up for failure, just like I don't want to be set up for failure. So make sure, if I could tell anybody anything, stop recruiting just to recruit. That's not what this is about. That's why there are issues in this industry. Recruit for what makes sense for your agency and for your teams. Don't just recruit to recruit. Take the
Yeah.
time to really talk to these people and understand who they are. And it will make a difference inside your business in a million different ways.
I love that you mentioned the BS meter and talking to agents, because one specific example I'll give you, Patrice, is that we had an agent I was talking to, and I've known him for quite a while, known of him, and never really worked directly with him. But he called us and wanted to come work with us, and you know just talk about everything he could do. And I said, that sounds great, but we really didn't mesh well. It was more of an entitled agent of, I'm bringing all this, I need this comp level. And I was like, I just don't think it's going to work out. I don't think that this is the right fit for us or for you. And thankfully we passed on the agent. He's in a ton of debt now, rolled up a bunch of debt, but it was because we really talked about the things that are important to us, and just the attitude of the agent, just that doesn't fit who we're trying to present as a company, but also looking for those agents. And it's just the intuition plays a lot of part in that as well.
I love that. First of all, I love your guys' bromance. I love how you're like, I love how you said that. Like that is such a great dynamic to see with leaders, knowing that you guys care about each other and you also like fist pump each other. Because the thing about it is, what I've noticed in this business, too many times we're surrounded by yes men. I don't want people tell me no, tell me I'm doing something wrong. Give me constructive criticism so I can be better. And because you guys are both holding yourself accountable, that makes for an agency with integrity, knowing I'm going to be taken care of and you're going to be honest with me. And it's also going to force me to be honest with myself that maybe this is not the place for me either. So we can be able to have those open conversations. And again, that's why agentscorereport.com is so important, because I want to give people options. So you don't just go to the first place and just give in and then try to find something within that organization when you realize the whole thing is just not for you. I want to give you options like Wes and Neil, so you can go sit and talk with them and see if that's a good fit, and then have other people to talk to so you can actually make a decision that makes sense for you and not waste anybody's time. I'd rather have a 30-40 minute conversation than waste 3 months of my time with you.
Absolutely.
That doesn't make sense. So can you guys share a specific instance where your agency went above and beyond to maintain trust with your clients or agents?
Absolutely. We believe on this is that when we talk to our agents, Patrice, that we've just talked about all the onboarding process. These are the expectations that we have from the very beginning. So we don't believe that you're really going above and beyond. That is the expectation, that you live in that lifestyle of above and beyond, because above and beyond that means that there's a minimum, there's a mediocre, and there shouldn't be a minimum or mediocre part out there in the industry. It should be, this is the level of service you should be getting, and this is the level of expectation that we have for agents. So we really don't have the specific instances, because everything that we do we believe you should live in a level of above and beyond for your agent and also for your clients.
I love that. I love that. Like that makes sense. It's like there is no questions. We do everything by the book.
Yeah.
So we don't need to go further. So, what measures do you take to ensure that your agents operate with the highest level of integrity and professionalism?
Yeah, so I'll kind of chime in on this because, like I said, I'm the questions that I ask, and we're not going to go into every question that I ask. My interview process is very, very quick, and very to the point. Now, I've had 2-hour conversations before, still didn't hire the agent,
Mm.
still didn't bring them on. That process alone, and this is why I keep harping on this, is because again, don't recruit to recruit. Recruit people that fit. And so when I'm going through those questions, we're asking one, where's your business come from? That is a big part. Okay. Where are you getting your business? Are you relying on, warm market, word of mouth? Are you buying leads? Great. Who are you buying leads from? Let me call them. Let me talk to them because I know them. You're not going to tell me somebody that I don't know. And so those are big things. So when it comes to keeping that integrity, keeping these people doing the right things, they're going to do it from day one or they're not going to be here. And that's just as simple as it gets because I'm not going to bring in a bunch of bad apples that are going to cause a bunch of issues because if we do, then that causes issues for every other agent because if I have issues, other agents are going to have issues. I got other things to worry about. So don't bring people in that don't fit the mold. Like if you want above and beyond service, if you want great agents, then do your job as a recruiter and stop recruiting people that you're allowing to do things that shouldn't be in this industry. We
Yeah.
shouldn't have the debt issues. We shouldn't have clients. We shouldn't be changing FTC and TCPA laws because this industry has just gone rampant with all of these borderline gray or illegal things. Just do your job. Do the things that you're supposed to be here to do. Work good, do what's best for the client. You'll make money along the way. That comes with doing what's best for the client and just follow the rules. They're here. The carriers, if you're in the health side, CMS, the rules are there. If you stay within those guidelines and we are here to help and make sure that we stay above that curve, we're going to know what changes are coming. We're going to let you know. And so as long as everybody is, again, back to communication, if you are communicating, everybody will be doing what they're supposed to be doing when they're supposed to be doing it and know exactly how to do it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I think that is so huge. I love that you're standing on business. But again, this is what I'm talking about. I want to reset the industry where that is the focus. Like this is normal. This is insurance. We have your banking information, your social, your mother's maiden name. We have everything. I cannot let unqualified people continue to enter this industry and destroy the sanctity of what we are doing. And they are perverting essentially what insurance is. Like I tell people, I feel like they're just selling the McDonald's cheeseburgers of insurance out there when there are far more products that will benefit your family in the long run instead of just selling you something that's a blanket. Now, you guys touched on this a little bit, but can you go a little bit deeper into how do you guys support your agents in their professional development and success?
Yeah, that comes a lot from we've developed a training course for our agents. Again, expectation, we talk about this in the onboarding. We have a training course for agents that they can go on, they can watch. Now, do they do it? We can hold them to the fire and say, hey, do this, but we give them the opportunity to learn. This is the course that you're gonna follow that we've set up for you. You may think that you're better than anybody else that developed the course and not plug into it. You're going to weed yourself out very quickly. But the agents that plug into our course, our training, we have developed back-end websites, scripts, systems, CRMs that will help you automate your business to a degree. Those are things that we have set up in place for our agents and our agent managers to be able to utilize. Now, some agencies come on board and say, "Hey, we got all of our own stuff. We talk about what they have going on. Hey, this is what we can do to help you with your agency already." Neil's really good on the system side. That's why he's our director of operations. So he's really good at helping these agents with, hey, let's enhance your offering now, or hey, that's a pretty good system, but let's show you why we do it this way. And that's how we support agents. It just goes back to communication, but also what we've actually built out for our agents.
So this is like a perfect segue into the next question. What are the resources and training programs that you do offer to ensure the agents remain knowledgeable and compliant with the industry regulations?
Yeah, we lean heavily on the insurance carriers. They send a lot of information for us. They provide a lot of information for us. So it's our job to disseminate that to our agents. We do that through weekly calls, emails, having conversations about, hey, these are things that are changing that we need to be aware of. But also this is the standard of the insurance industry. That's the thing. It's a big theme of, this is what is the ethical and moral rules of the industry. But also the way that we get that out to them is through that consistent communication with our agents on what they should be doing and how they should be doing it. And if they don't, we have those coaching calls. I don't believe that, I do believe in second chances. I believe in coaching. I wasn't perfect my first several sales. In fact, I was really pretty bad my first year. Still not perfect, not anywhere close, but it was that I had mentors that helped me get through the bad times. And hey, you did this great, but you did this poorly. And just keep communicating that and talking with the agents. That's how we do that.
I love that. With Thank you your agency, what steps do you take to ensure client satisfaction and maintain long-term relationships?
Yeah, so
Yeah, go ahead, Neil.
just a quick point here. We touch on those standards. Those standards, like I said, make tons of tiny differences. This is another one. Setting agents up in the beginning, hiring the right types of agents, bringing the right people into the industry, providing them with the training, all of these other non-issues go away because they're not issues. You don't have all these issues if you're not hiring people that you shouldn't be hiring. We don't have to deal with all of these. Oh, well, we're losing clients left and right. We're doing this left and right. Agents are rolling up tons of debt. It's not an issue because we don't hire people to do those things. You come in and you understand what we want from you. And I will ask you, what do you want from me? Why are you looking, especially if it's an agent moving from another agency or IMO? Why are you looking for a new agency? Why? What's wrong with where you are right now? Be honest. Tell me the truth because I can't help you if you're not honest. And a lot of times, the number one thing is I just don't have any support. I don't have any communication. That's the number one thing that I get out of 9 out of 10 agents. Maybe you get a comp issue here or there. Hey, great. Show me those commission statements. Have you earned it? You haven't? Hey, we'll help you earn it. Absolutely. But those things, the communication and the consistency that we go back to, just do what you're supposed to. Now, you can go a little bit past those things. We do send out cards. We do gifts. We stay in constant communication with those clients. You can't sit here and tell me, "Oh, I can't get any more clients. I'm losing clients." Well, have you talked to them? Have you sent them an email? Have you called them? Have you texted them? Have you sent them a thank you card? Are you sending them consistent cards throughout the year to keep them on the books? Are you doing these things? Well, there's your problem. That's it. And we have, very different. I'm a pretty easy to communicate type of person, but I'm also very direct when it comes to the BS that you're doing or the things you're not doing. I will tell you very directly, this is your issue. It's you. It's you. Now I'll help you with it. Here's how we can fix it. But I can't help you do that until you'll admit you're the problem.
Yeah.
This is why you have this issue. This is why I don't have this issue. Here's how we can help. And that's the thing is a lot of these other groups are going to say, buy more leads, call more people, do more of this, do more of that. Great. We didn't never figure out what the problem was. And that's why these problems continue to spread. These people get worse. They continue with their bad habits. Just be a good person. And you're not going to have a lot of these problems. It's that simple.
And just knowing that there's agencies like yours out there where you don't have to feel like there's scarcity, where you don't have to, cheat people or cross the gray lines or do any of those manipulative tactics. You will end it before it even happens. Like, hey, this is not a sale. Let me get up out of here.
Yep.
Absolutely.
While I know your clients are probably absolutely satisfied, can you tell me how you handle situations where an agent is dissatisfied with your services?
He'll handle a lot of this for us, but it comes down to, again, handling the communication from the beginning. I want to keep going back to that because it's so important to us. But handling that communication of, we've had these multiple touch points of, hey, we've coached you here, we've coached you here. hey, we have to have a harder conversation. And I tell agents that this is a hard conversation to have. It's not, we don't like having these conversations. Um, but if they're just satisfied with our services, hey, you know what? If it's not the best fit for you, we don't want to hold you captive. Now we do follow carrier release guidelines. We're not gonna try to put a bunch of debt underneath of you like some IMOs do or anything like that. We want you to go find the right fit. But we do follow those carrier guidelines for releases. If you don't want to work with us, you don't have to. You're not gonna be captive to us. You're not captive. You're an independent agent. You have the availability to go get other contracts elsewhere, move this one. A lot of carriers now have really nice release processes where you do a letter of intent of transfer. You can, it only takes 3 months with most carriers now. We're several carriers. You can do a letter of intent of transfer in 6 months. Hey, you don't want to work with this? Go ahead, go somewhere else. We're not gonna try to keep you if you don't want to work with us.
Well, speaking on commissions, that really goes into the next question. How transparent are you with your agents regarding, policies and commissions in that regard? Because I know a lot of industries have a way of, I would say, putting a smoke screen in front of the commission grid and making you think one thing and not another. How transparent are you with your agents? Like if I were to get hired by you, if you say 100%, is that 100%, or are you going to break it down for me and tell me what that
So
actually
that's a
means?
great question, and it's a lot of the IMOs are very similar on how they structure their grids. We base our grid on what we call our haven, 80% to 130%. However, we are open with, hey, that is based on our term core carriers. These are the core carriers. Here's the entire list of our carriers, the grid. You get to see that grid, what you're going to be at here. We keep it very comparative. For instance, there's some IMOs out there that hey, they're getting paid the full comp, but they're going to make you take a 20% pay cut on this one. So if we're getting paid top comp, you're going to get paid top comp. It's based off volume at the end of the day. So it's not, if you're less on a contract, it's because that's what the carrier has mandated us at. That's what they pay out. We have to obviously keep our spreads for operations and costs and those things, but we're very fair with that, and we're very transparent of you get the whole grid. This is, your levels. There might be some ancillary things on there, like you might not list a disability policy, but I always encourage agents to go grab that from the carrier. And also just ensure that whenever we process a raise, hey, we're gonna send this off. We're gonna do the right thing by you and send off your raise. Sometimes people make mistakes. A lot of times carriers they might lose, quote unquote, a form. We send it off for you, but hey, we're going to get it fixed. But as an agent and as an agency, something that was really pounded into me is it's my responsibility to go check to make sure my level is correct. So whenever I get a new contract, great, you told me I'm at 130%. I'm going to go verify that what you told me is what the carrier has me at. Now I'm going to go back to you, Mr. Manager, and say, hey, they only have me at 110% here. What happened? Oh my gosh, let's get that corrected. That's a great thing. If you're with another IMO, another agency, and like you have that communication of how they answer that question of I'm at this level, or that was like, well, we're gonna taken care of, or it's not that big of a deal. Our commitment is if it's messed up, we're gonna get it fixed immediately. If not, we're gonna make it right. If it's something that we messed up on. But at the end of the day, it's that communication and showing you this is what you're at, and this is what you are
No,
across the
thank you
board.
so much for sharing that. How does your agency handle commission advances and the potential for agent debt?
You know, we're pretty fair on this to start off with. We believe you. We give you benefit of the doubt until you prove us wrong. Um, However, in the contracting process, we do background checks. The carriers do background checks. Sometimes things get missed. People are clever on how to hide these things, but when they come up, we have the conversation. Hey, you have this debt with this company. Tell us about that. And what Neil said earlier, we listened through between the lines of, is this really true? Is this manufactured? We know the carriers, we know the companies out there that are known for putting debt underneath of you as you try to leave. We know those carriers, we're going to be much more lenient on that stuff because we know that's the case. We're also going to call and verify it too, as much as we can. Is like, hey, is this agent debt or is this agency debt? When did this occur? How did it occur? We want to see documents if we can, and that's going to play a role into do we continue even contracting this person? Then the next part of that is just if when we look at your book of business, whenever we see policies coming in, hey, you're most of our agents start off on the lower caps of the commissions. That is a thing. You're going to get it all back in month 10, 11, and 12. And these things are here to protect you as an agent from having too much debt at one time, but also the IMO and taking on too much debt from con artists out there. But we have those communications. Hey, these couple policies charged back. What happened? I'm not just gonna let them sit on they charged back. Hey, what happened with these cases? How could we have prevented it? Can you call them back? Can you get them back on? What was the root of this? And you can only, BS that for so long until like, okay, clearly there's a problem here. We need to really dive into your presentation, how you're doing things, and that we might make decisions. We have to put you on as earned. We communicate that though before we do it. Hey, if these things do not get fixed, we're going to have to put you on as earned. Everybody's gets the chance of full events at 75% for most places. The carrier may come in and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to let you do that. You're only going to put this person on a 6-month events. If that's the case, we're going to follow that. But we really heavily rely on the carriers, but also what is out there in your background, just to make sure that you're not, you're doing the best thing for clients, because hurt people, and we don't really want that in our agency at all.
No, absolutely. And this is where I feel agentscorereport.com comes in. While like I told everyone, this is not the shade room, this is not a gossip channel, this is not where you go just to rag on people. I really want to spotlight debt, particularly not for the instances of people who are going to run off with debt, but even just that where I am seeing IMOs and spaces control agents by creating falsified debt, by basically taking your book of business because you decided to leave and placing it onto someone else. With the current systems in place now, you really don't have windows into that. You can't
Right.
see the policies. They just say it is what it is. This is where I want to create transparency. Let me see what you are talking about, because I also want to show people how you act, right? Because I don't want agents to go there knowing that is going to be the repercussions. That if
Absolutely.
I do decide to leave, it's not going to be a happy divorce. Yeah,
Right.
we're going to have
Absolutely.
to split property and everything, and somehow I have to pay alimony for something that's still on the books. That doesn't make sense to me. So again, this is where I want people to utilize this, that, hey, once you hit your mark, whatever you decide for your agency, if 90 days is your mark, hey, you're letting them know you're going up, bro. I want to make sure that I am preparing other people in this industry. It is my due diligence to do that. Because if you guys are of integrity, transparency, and trust, shouldn't you warn me?
Yeah.
Shouldn't I know? Because we want to keep this industry clean. But if we keep recycling the same people and I get that unqualified person, it happens again and again
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
again.
That's one reason I'm so excited, Patrice, to be on this podcast with you, but also really work with you in the capacity of Agent Score Report, and just helping build that out, and being one of the first people to be on this program. I know you've got quite a few agencies and IMOs on here, but super excited and blessed that you guys, hey, we want to talk to you guys about using this platform. We really think it's going to be something huge for the industry, and allow to have that power back in some of the agents and agency managers' hands that has kind of been stripped away from those. We just talked about those books of businesses being moved, not being able to see into the book of business, etc. So I'm really excited for that, to see how you grow it, but also we want to help add to it as much as we can.
Thank you. You're gonna make me cry, and I got chills. So, moving on. So, yeah, let's jump into that. So, as far as the agents that do have debt, like I know bad things happen to good people all the time, and I get that. What support do you have in place for agents that may face financial difficulties or debt issues?
It's really hard to put a blanket statement on this. It's much more of a case by case situation, and just really digging into have that one-on-one conversation of what's going on, what caused this, how can we help, do we want to help, is some big questions that we have. And if it's something that, like I said, good things happen, you know there's times that maybe it's not running out of business. Maybe we can help support you here. Sometimes it might look at, hey, you just need a little nudge. Here's a couple extra leads in this area. Great. Hey, let's go back to the basics. Let's practice on these things. Let's work. Hey, we're going to do a call every single week with you until we get you out of this situation. Agents that take us up on that, they normally do pretty well and pull out of that, because agents that will oftentimes kind of seclude and start going away, and that's whenever they start leaving the business. But really, if you're having a financial difficulty, or if you're having an issue, chargebacks, or I can't get the emotion out of a home, etc., you should be leaning into your mentor, and that's their job, is to help pull you up. And as long as you're doing the right things, we're going to help you pull you up. If you're not doing the right things, we're going to coach you, try to set you back out there and go get them. But it comes down to, we give you the opportunity to lean into us, to take our coaching, and do that weekly call. If it takes us talking to you every day, we're going to do that. But it really does come down to how much they're willing to put into getting themselves out of the hole. We're going to help. We're going to give you the shovel. We're going to give you the ladder, the rope if you need it, but we can't make you pull yourself up there. I think that was one of the hardest things for me to understand in this industry when I first started building. Was I had this agent. She brought on a stellar communicator agent. It's like, hey, this person is going to be really awesome. I know you're struggling right now. Just don't quit. Just don't quit. I was like, hey, just like, hey, he helped you make $1,000 this week. Like, just keep going. Like, I know you're not doing the best yet, but we can help you with that. Just hang on just a little bit longer. And I promise you, let us pour in this agent. He's going to help grow you. He's one of the biggest agents that I've ever had the pleasure of helping coach. He's got several managers underneath of him now. He does really great. Had to hang on just a little bit longer, so we can't make you drink the water, but we can lead you to it and give you the tools to help you get there. Just you've got to be able to drink it yourself and do their own
Oh,
work.
no, sir. I just wanted to say I just love your guys' dedication. And on top of that, I know I'm asking these questions that are like not happening in your agency, but it's good to still hear your questions because all these problems I'm talking about, it would never be because you guys are sifting them out from the beginning. So you already know if shit hits the fan, they are willing to do what needs to be done to reset, clear their mind, become a child, and say, I'm your grasshopper. Teach me
Yep.
the ways. You guys already know that. So I did want to circle back to that because I know we're answering these questions and going deep into it, but I want people knowing, watching, this ain't even a problem for you guys. But you're still answering the question anyway, because some people don't answer questions. We
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Neil, you did want to share something. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah. So two things. And, this is one for experienced, and the second part's going to kind of be for newer agents. So one, like I said, I spend a lot of time. I'm not somebody that you're going to talk to. If you need to talk to me, absolutely call me, text me. Okay. But I make it a point every other week at a bare minimum. Anybody that I have to deal with that is inside of this agency, I text and I call every single time. And I go through a list very quick. Now, of course, that first text message is usually not super personal, but it's a contact point to start a conversation if you want that conversation. Now, to add to that, I have a lot of very personal conversations. Okay, I take a point to not just sit here. We've talked a lot about the business. We've talked a lot about the ins and outs of just the agency side. I take a lot of time to talk about personal lives too. Because if your personal life is not in check, you don't have to tell me everything. You don't have to tell me what's going on. But I want every agent that I work with to know that, hey, you're dealing with something. I've probably dealt with it too.
Yeah.
We all deal with stuff. Call me. We'll talk about it. I'll help you through that situation to get you back on track, to make sure that hey, I went through the same thing. It was a hard 2 years, but I got through it. And I got through it by being consistent and leaning on the people that were willing to help me. I'm here to help you. I don't get paid if I don't help you. Let me help you. And so that's a big thing, is just to make sure that we're there for these people, for the business and personally. If you're having a hard time, give us a call, talk about it. I know in this industry, some of us don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I spend 99% of my day in front of a computer and on a phone. Like I talk to these people too. We have a business relationship and a personal relationship. Now, the second thing to kind of add, just really what we're talking about here is I want new agents to really understand something. We're here to help. One, we've already covered that. We've covered the things that are here to help you, but I want you to understand that this is not the easiest road. Know that this industry will take something from you.
Yeah.
You have you got to be ready, your time or your money. Okay. Those are two things that's going to come into effect here. You got to understand, which one do you want to give? Do you want to give more time, or do you have the money to invest in yourself? I'm not going to sit here and drown leads down your throat. Buy more leads, buy more leads. Maybe just work the leads you have a little bit better. We'll help you with that. There are certain things to be done, but just understand that's one of the biggest reasons that people fail outside of the communication and having a good upline and a good agency is you're not willing to give something. A lot of agents get into this industry, they see the dollar signs. They have that shiny objects. Oh, I can make that much money doing this. Great. It can't be that hard. There's so many people doing it. Well, we know what the statistics are. We know what the fail rate is. Understand that you've got to give. You're going to trade something for that money. Rather, it's you're investing more money into yourself and into your agency, or you're investing a lot of time. And that is going to take something from you. Be willing and ready to have it. Don't get caught off guard. Don't listen to all this flashy, rah-rah stuff that you hear from some of these other groups. Some of them are great. I've got friends at some of these agencies that we all know of that are great people, and they run great agencies. They are separate from those people.
Yeah.
They understand that there has to be something given here, and that needs to be said up front. You're going to give something if you want to be successful in this industry. Be ready to do it and stay committed to that vision and be consistent.
1000%. I absolutely agree. And I stay true to this too, is like, just because I had a bad experience at another company doesn't mean you will share that same experience. But what you should take from the conversation is what I did experience, so that you don't run into those things. And you need to make sure you're okay with those things, especially how people do their releases, how they do their debts, how they do hiring, recruiting. You have to be okay with those standards that they have there. Even if you do see successful people there, that may not be you. And again, you have to be okay. You have to be okay with the structure of that business and how it is already. So we are at the end of our questions here. We're just kind of wrapping up what you guys are doing and what you see towards the future. So the insurance industry is constantly evolving. How is your agency adapting to those changes? What are innovations or strategies that you are implementing to stay ahead of the trends?
It absolutely is always changing, evolving. And I want to go to a story that helped me understand this a long time ago. It was, pre-COVID, probably 2018 or so, but I had a mentor that said, you're never, ever, ever going to take away the in-person sales agent. You're never going to do that.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I didn't know that we could use Zoom. I didn't know it was going to be a possibility, but I said, I know that is going to change. And that was probably the starting point of like, we got to keep evolving, because that we can't say things like that, because it is going to happen. And sure enough, COVID happens. We're not going to homes. People don't want you in their home. You're getting at the door and they're yelling at you for coming to their house. And you have to adapt. You have to learn to use another product like a Zoom or a phone, or instead of being in person. So I think that was really instrumental in the insurance industry. It's going to help continue a lot of changes. COVID is, even though as bad as it was, it did help change some things for the good in our industry and bring it out of the dinosaur age. But to answer your question, um, it's implementing that technology and being a student. That's another really good reasons why Neil is our director of operations. He is always dabbling in studying the new trends, the new changes. We're both early adopters on a lot of things. I think that's a huge thing for us to do. If you study the bell curve of that, early adopters are more likely to look at technology and say, that looks like a great idea. Let's use it, versus let's wait for to see how it goes for this other agency first and see if we want to implement that. You got to be willing to try new things, and sometimes you spend money, you spend time, and they didn't work out, or sometimes it might be the best thing that ever happened to your agency and your agents. So it's just being on top of that, of just really putting ourselves out there of, hey, we're not afraid to try these things. Hey, you know what, we messed that cell up, let's go on to the next one. We have the system, it doesn't do what we need to do a 30-day trial, do a 60-day trial. If it works out, test it in the background. We don't just roll it out to our agents right up front and say, hey, here's our new system. It is, we test everything in the background. We test leads in the background. We have agents test these leads and say, hey, give us some feedback on this first. But we are always, always, always looking for how can we be better. I think that goes back to that commitment to ongoing self-improvement that we have. How can we be better? How can we make our lives easier? As a restaurant manager, one of the biggest things I did in the kitchen is I would sit there and study where our ingredients are. How can I decrease the amount of steps that it takes for this cook to do this job? He shouldn't have to take 9 steps. He can do 3.
Yeah.
And we can improve the rate at which food goes out of the kitchen to the client's hearts and their stomachs, right? So it's the same thing with, I took that same approach. How can I make the job of an agent easier? These are the things I struggle with. I got pretty much handed a couple videos and a phone script and said, "Hey, go get them." How can we do that but better? How can we give you more tools to succeed? And it's just, I was asking that question of not being afraid to ask that question of what's next? How can I be better? How can we improve this process?
Yep.
Yeah. No,
And
I
I want
love
to give you a different perspective for people as well, because that's the very internal side of things, right? I got a lot of friends in this industry running agencies that are bigger than we are, and some are smaller. Stop thinking that you're in competition with these people.
yeah.
Make friends. We're not in competition with these people. We lean on partnerships and friendships with other agencies, other IMOs. I'm not in competition with you. Yes, we're all going after the same market, but we're not in competition. I don't want the same agents that you want. You don't want the same agents that I want. Look at that very differently and realize that there are people better than you.
Yeah.
There are people worse than you. Maybe you'll help somebody be as good as you are and they'll learn something different to help you later. Create relationships, get out here and network inside of this industry. It's a very small industry, and there are some really good people, and they will help, and you can help them. That will help you stay ahead, because together you guys are working on something that is going to make this industry better, which will reap big benefits for everybody. That butterfly effect is going to be huge if you'll let it be. So just get out there, talk to people, make friends. Stop thinking that that other agency or that other group is your enemy. They're
Yeah.
not. They're not. Just work together. Let them do their thing. You do your thing. Have a personal relationship, even. Maybe they're at a better place than you because they are at a better place personally with themselves. Maybe that's what you need from them. Just comes down to networking, being friends with people, and just get the enemy and the competition thing out of the industry, because it's
Yeah.
not necessary.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. And I always tell people you should have you should always have someone outside of your business so that you can share ideas and opinions that aren't yours because you
Yep.
want to learn and continue to grow. But if you're around the same people, how are you going to grow all the time? You got to get out there,
Yep.
see what other people are doing, see what you can implement, because it could be one or two things that they are doing that you can add, or it's even just becoming more knowledgeable and sharing information. There's too many times I've got on the phone with people who sell a particular product and they will rag on another one. And you can hear them, you can hear the complete misinformation, and there's no telling them which way. So I've been trying to say, hey, I recommend you read this book before you keep saying, before you keep saying that, because it's a lot of times is you don't even understand the product that you're selling and how it
Yep.
doesn't make sense. Like for me, it doesn't make sense for someone to pay $25 into a mutual fund that's going to lose money. If that's not a commitment to me, that's not enough to do what needs to be done. You're frankly wasting their time and their money when that can be repositioned differently, whether it's on themselves with a policy or a child using a surrogate where the cost of insurance is so much more lower and that $25 can actually go somewhere.
Yep.
um, I want to bring back those kinds of conversations where we can talk about each other and share ideas. Maybe I get a couple of contracts over here and it's not a big deal because I want to sell, I want to do what it is they're doing. Everyone should be able to do their own thing. Too many times I've seen, even in our history, Wesley, where, we were at an agency at one point together, and there was one prior to that where the agency that we left prior tried to do everything that new agency was doing to try to keep people there. But the thing is, that wasn't your thing, and you aren't even doing it to the true part of its core. You're giving some type of, thrown up job version of it to keep people there. And again, we lose what we were trying to do. It waters down the movement of us actually learning these products and executing them correctly for our clients. That wasn't happening because they were bigger, they were louder, and they were able to drown out what we're doing. But guess what? We're going to be bigger and we're going to be louder with this, because we know everybody knows each other in this industry. And at the end of the day, once it starts getting used, agentscorereport.com gets used, it's over for y'all. because you will not be able to control that narrative. You're not going to be able to get all of your agents to jump up and come write a bunch of reviews because guess what? I'm going to make the lowest reviews first. So try it. You can have 500 5 stars, but I am really concerned about those 14, 1 stars that are probably going to have more in-depth information about my experience or your experience or their experience there. So jumping into the last question here, is where do you see your agency in the next 5 to 10 years? What are your goals for the future? And how do you plan to continue building trust and credibility in the industry?
I like this question, but I'm also probably not going to give you the answer that you want. This is something that we have some big goals, some big aspirations, but I also believe in, I believe it was Frank Ocean that said this, is that work hard in silence and let success be your noise. And that's what we believe. We have some really big, bad, audacious goals that we believe are achievable. They're definitely stretch goals. However, we're going to keep some of that private for now, and we're going to let you guys see the success in the future.
Yeah, okay. I like that. Hey, give somebody to look into because you guys are already talking about so many good things. I can only imagine what's going to be stacked on top of that. So with that being said, do you guys have anything that you guys want to leave to our viewers? Anything that you guys want to say or share?
I will add to that question just a little bit so you get a little bit more, but is that, we're more of a three-headed operation as far as, we're not just term mortgage protection agents. It's how I got started. I think it's a great way to get started, but we have the opportunity for you to learn annuities, the opportunity for you to learn Medicare. If you want to add those recurring passive residual based types into your agency, or you want to be paid more on the upfront, we want to help you with either one of those. And so we do have that where it's not just you don't come here just to work one lead type. You have the opportunity to work many. We want you to be very good at one of them and add in one or two, but we also have the platform for you to come in and say, hey, I don't really know this much about Medicare or this much of news. We have questions for you to ask, but we have other agents that are able and other systems are able to help you with that, whether you want to learn it yourself or you say, you know what, I don't want to focus on it at all. I want to be really good at this. Hey, we have the capacity to hand it off to somebody else that can help you with your agent, to help these agents get their goal, but also that allows us to do more for you, which is going to help us get some of those big goals that we do have over the next 5 to 10 years.
I love that. I love that.
As far as what would you give new agents starting the industry? I believe that was your question, right?
Yeah.
I believe I read a lot on this topic, and it's been a kind of, if you in any of the forums or whatnot, should you have more than one IMO is one of the things I see a lot. I'm going to say that no, initially no. I think it's really hard to ride two horses with one butt. As one of my old mentors used to say. But I do believe in setting yourself up for success, and by that is not getting a contract with every single carrier that's out there.
Yeah.
Yes, be dedicated, learn this IMO that you're at. If it doesn't work out, hey, you have other products you can take and go use somewhere else. You don't have to worry if they're going to release me or not. That shouldn't even be a worry for you. Like, oh, they're not going to release me. Most agencies aren't going to. And if you know how to run this business, as far as don't get every single carrier that's out there under your name and go represent them, you really need 3 to 5 at max carriers to start with.
Yeah.
There are a ton of insurance carriers out there beyond those 3 to 5 that everybody typically gravitates towards. So do yourself a service, and you know what? Don't get that one carrier. If it starts to work out and you love it and you love the culture and you love everything about this company, sure, add them in when you need them. But don't just go out there to get contracts. There's contracts that I've been offered to say, you know what? I don't think we need that. But it's out there if I need it, if I want it, it's an option. But I'm not going to go search out all these contracts just to have them. That way it doesn't tie me down. But most importantly, I want to make sure that I'm fulfilling my production obligations as well. So that's kind of my advice to agents is don't ride two horses with one butt. Focus on one IMO at first. And if it doesn't work out, then have a conversation. Don't just look at the shiny object syndrome and hop somewhere else.
Yeah.
Before you would have make that decision, try to work it out. Try to talk with your upline mentor, talk with the corporation. That was something that I did when I left my first agency as an agency owner. Was I wanted to work it out. Didn't go the way that that I wanted it to, but I also look back on that and say, you know what, I could have worked it out more. Maybe would have stayed longer. Maybe would have left faster. I don't know. but I'm not afraid to have that conversation of, hey, I'm not getting what I want. This is not what I signed up for, or hey, this is not what you told me. How do we fix this? Have that conversation first, and if it doesn't work out, move on.
No, I love that you brought that up. So speaking of answering questions for my listeners and out there, don't forget to email us at admin@agentscorereport.com, where we will email you a new agent checklist interview. These are questions that you should be asking any agency manager, IMO that you are going to be interested in partnering with to make sure you have the most informed decision. Again, anyone that comes on my podcast, I've already checked those boxes, but still trust
Pretty much
but
everything.
verify.
Yeah, fantastic.
Again,
Did
thank
you guys have
so
anything else to-
much for believing in me, for coming on, seeing the vision, and helping me push it. With that being said, this brings us to the end of the Great Reset podcast, where insurance meets accountability. Don't forget to check us out, and don't forget to make a review on agentscorereport.com. We're taking new agents now. Have a good day, you guys. We'll see you next
Thanks,
time.
Patrice.
Thanks, Patrice.